Hello and welcome, amazing viewers, to today's fascinating journey into the world of coins, currency, and one of the most astonishing phenomena in modern numismatics that has captured the attention of collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts alike, where a single 1-cent coin minted in 2023 has reached an astronomical value of $15 million. A staggering figure that might seem absurd at first glance, yet is rooted in the unique combination of errors, mistakes, and the rare circumstances surrounding its creation, distribution, and subsequent discovery, and today we are going to explore every facet of this phenomenon, diving deep into why this humble penny, something most of us handle casually without a second thought, has become a multi-million-dollar treasure, starting with an understanding of the coin's origin, the minting process, and how even the smallest deviations in this process can produce outcomes that are highly sought after by collectors, investors, and historians alike, because the story of the 2023 1-cent coin is not just about metal and face value, it is a story of human error, technological imperfection, and the unexpected ways in which rarity can transform ordinary objects into extraordinary investments. First and foremost, we need to examine the nature of the errors themselves, which are numerous and varied, ranging from minute die cracks and misalignments to more conspicuous mistakes such as double dies, off-center strikes, and planchet anomalies, each of which contributes to the overall rarity of the coin and, consequently, its market value. For instance, die cracks are small fissures that appear on the coin's surface due to stress in the metal dies used to strike coins, and while they may appear insignificant to the untrained eye, in the numismatic world they are considered fascinating indicators of the coin's production history, particularly in the case of the 2023 1-cent coin, where these cracks were unusually pronounced and distributed in patterns that are virtually impossible to replicate, creating a distinct fingerprint that makes each coin individually recognizable and valuable. Then there is the issue of double dies, which occurs when the die itself is improperly manufactured, causing elements of the design to appear duplicated on the coin's surface, and in the case of the 2023 penny, experts have identified several varieties of double die errors, some affecting the lettering, others the date, and a few even altering the image of Lincoln's profile, with these variations being catalogued meticulously by professional numismatists, and the mere presence of these anomalies can drive the coin's value into the millions, particularly when the doubling is clear, aesthetically striking, and historically verifiable. Another major contributing factor to the penny's value is off-center strikes, which happen when the coin blank, or planchet, is not perfectly aligned in the press during striking, leading to coins that are partially blank on one side and distorted on the other. And while off-center coins are not unprecedented in history, the degree of misalignment seen in some 2023 1-cent coins is extreme, with some coins missing as much as 40% of the intended design, making them visually arresting and highly desirable to collectors who seek the unusual and the rare. Additionally, the 2023 penny is notable for certain planchet errors, where the metal blank itself was improperly prepared, sometimes including laminations, where layers of metal separate or bubble, creating surface irregularities, or wrong metal planchets, where copper-plated zinc was accidentally substituted with pure copper or other alloys, creating distinctive coloring and weight differences that further contribute to rarity. And the convergence of all these errors in a single coin has led to a phenomenon where numismatic experts and collectors are willing to pay unprecedented sums to own even a single example, because rarity in coins is not simply about scarcity, it is about uniqueness, historical narrative, and the story that the coin tells. And in the case of the 2023 1-cent coin, each blemish, crack, and misalignment tells a story of a year of extraordinary minting mistakes that will likely never be replicated. Moreover, beyond the physical errors themselves, the circumstances surrounding the discovery of these coins have amplified their value. Many were found in circulation accidentally by collectors or ordinary people, and as news spread across social media, numismatic forums, and online marketplaces, the hype and desirability increased exponentially, creating a feedback loop where the perceived value drives actual market transactions. And the story of these coins has even attracted mainstream media attention, with auction houses reporting bidding wars, private collectors shelling out millions, and speculation about future appreciation. Further underscoring how mistakes and errors, which would normally be considered defects or blemishes, can become the primary drivers of value when they occur in the right context, and this phenomenon is not entirely new in numismatics, as history has long shown with famous errors such as the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double-die Lincoln cent, and other legendary misprints. But the 2023 penny takes this to an extreme, partly because of the convergence of multiple types of errors in a single coin. Partly because of modern social and economic factors that amplify rarity into financial mania, and partly because of the digital age, where news travels instantly and buyer competition can escalate values at an unprecedented pace. Furthermore, it is essential to consider the psychological and economic dimensions of why collectors are willing to pay millions for a 1-cent coin, which is, after all, nominally worth far less than $1, and the explanation lies in the combination of rarity, historical significance, and the tangible thrill of owning something that is not only uncommon but also emblematic of human error and imperfection. The imperfections themselves become the focal point of desire, a paradoxical value proposition where the mistakes, misalignments, and production flaws turn a nearly worthless object into a symbol of status, investment, and historical curiosity. In addition, the 2023 penny has sparked intriguing discussions about the possibilities of future value appreciation, where economists, numismatists, and hobbyists alike speculate whether these coins could one day surpass the value of even rare gold or silver coins, and if so, the mechanism is entirely driven by the combination of finite supply, documented errors, cultural interest, and collector fervor. It is also fascinating to consider that each individual 2023 1-cent coin is unique, even among coins with similar errors, because the exact nature of die cracks, metal flow, planchet irregularities, and striking anomalies varies minutely, meaning that every coin has a story encoded into its metal, a physical narrative that cannot be perfectly duplicated, thus reinforcing the idea that rarity is relative and highly subjective, dependent on collector perception as well as objective scarcity, and the story does not end with physical imperfections alone, because market dynamics, auction exposure, media coverage, and social proof all interact to enhance perceived value, creating a situation where a coin that would otherwise be ignored becomes the center of an intensely competitive market. And when you combine all these factors, it is clear why a coin that literally costs 1 cent to produce can command $15 million in the right circumstances. Moreover, the 2023 penny serves as a case study in human psychology, economics, and cultural value creation, because it illustrates how errors and mistakes, often viewed negatively in other contexts, can become the central drivers of desirability when embedded in a system where rarity, history, and perception intersect, and it invites reflection on broader questions about value itself, asking us to consider why we assign worth to objects, how scarcity interacts with storytelling, and why people are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for things that, on the surface, seem trivial. Further expanding on the errors, the coin exhibits a variety of striking anomalies, including micro-engraving flaws, inconsistencies in relief depth, and variations in edge milling, all of which contribute to its numismatic significance, with some specimens showing subtle shifts in Lincoln's profile, uneven surfaces, and areas of raised metal that indicate misalignment during the striking process. These imperfections are catalogued in professional numismatic grading systems, which assign scores based on rarity, aesthetic appeal, and historical interest, and the 2023 penny scores exceptionally high on all fronts because the errors are both visually significant and historically verifiable, making them ideal candidates for high-value auctions. In addition, metallurgical analysis has revealed subtle inconsistencies in copper content, trace impurities, and plating thickness, suggesting that the minting process experienced unusual variations that year. And these scientific insights further enhance the coin's narrative by providing tangible, measurable evidence of the errors that make the coin so rare. The possibilities for future discovery are also tantalizing, as additional specimens may be found in circulation, private collections, or even forgotten storage boxes. Next, 2002 D 1 cent coin. Today, we are diving deep into the story of the 2002 D Lincoln cent, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors, numismatists, and enthusiasts alike because of its extraordinary and almost unbelievable market worth, reportedly valued at an astonishing $13 million due to the errors and mistakes it bears, making it one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatics. And as we embark on this exploration, imagine holding a tiny piece of metal that is so small, so common in appearance, yet so rare in reality that it can command a fortune, an object whose mistakes have transformed it from a simple 1-cent piece into a legendary artifact. And to understand why this coin has reached such astronomical value, we need to examine every nuance, every detail, every error that makes it unique, starting with the mint mark itself, the letter D for Denver, which on this coin appears in a way that is unlike any other from the same year and mint, a difference that is subtle to the untrained eye but immediately recognizable to experienced collectors. The coin features a strikingly off-center strike, a result of a misalignment in the minting press during production, and this misalignment caused the design of Abraham Lincoln's profile to shift dramatically toward one side, creating a visual effect that is not just unusual but extremely rare in coins produced at the United States Mint during the early 2000s. Adding to its intrigue is the double die error, an occurrence where the coin's inscriptions and design elements appear double due to repeated impressions of the die, and on this particular 2002 D cent, the doubling is prominent along the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as on the date itself, giving the coin a peculiar and fascinating appearance that immediately sets it apart from the millions of standard pennies struck that year. And the texture of the coin is also atypical, with evidence of die cracks and planchet flaws that occurred when the metal blank intended for minting was imperfect or stressed, resulting in minute cracks and irregularities that, while normally considered defects, actually elevate the coin's rarity and desirability among high-level collectors. In addition to the misalignment and doubling, there are known instances of this coin exhibiting broad strikes, where the coin expands slightly more than intended during the minting process, stretching the design and giving it a slightly distorted yet captivating look. And these combined errors create a confluence of mistakes that, when taken together, form an object of immense curiosity and immense monetary potential. And as we consider the possibilities, one can imagine that for coin enthusiasts, owning such a piece is like possessing a tangible fragment of history that could never be replicated, because each mistake, each misstrike, is unique and unrepeatable. And the value of $13 million reflects not just the material metal of a single cent, which is practically negligible, but the scarcity and the story it carries, the tale of human error captured forever in copper-plated zinc, a reminder that even in a process as controlled as coin minting, randomness and imperfection can create beauty and immense financial worth. Collectors speculate that the coin's rarity is compounded by the fact that only a handful of these misstruck 2002 D cents exist, each with variations in the degree of off-centering, doubling, and planchet flaws. And this uncertainty and scarcity drive intense competition among those who wish to acquire such a remarkable specimen. And imagine the excitement in the collectors' community, where auctions for this coin can escalate to jaw-dropping sums, a stark contrast to the face value of a mere penny, yet perfectly justified when one considers the uniqueness, the story, and the perfect storm of errors that make it one of the most coveted coins in the world, and beyond its immediate financial implications. The 2002 D cent opens up fascinating discussions about the minting process itself, the machinery, the human oversight, and how a tiny lapse can transform an otherwise ordinary object into an extraordinary treasure. It challenges our perception of value, showing that sometimes mistakes, rather than perfection, hold the highest worth. And as collectors analyze every millimeter of this coin, they often use magnification to examine the die cracks, the doubling, the subtle shifts in the portrait of Lincoln, each detail contributing to a narrative that is both visually compelling and historically significant. And the story of the 2002 D cent does not end with its errors alone. Its provenance, the documented history of ownership, previous auction sales, and the authentication by professional numismatic grading services all contribute to the legitimacy of its market value, turning what could be dismissed as a flawed penny into an investment-grade artifact. And for enthusiasts, owning such a coin is akin to holding a lottery ticket for history itself, a piece whose significance grows with every conversation about it, every expert analysis, and every published article, because the combination of off-center strike, double die features, die cracks, planchet imperfections, and broad strikes is extraordinarily rare. And in numismatic circles, coins are often valued on these precise imperfections. with some errors exponentially increasing the worth depending on their severity and uniqueness, and the psychological factor cannot be ignored, as collectors are often willing to pay astronomical sums for objects that confer status, demonstrate knowledge, and represent extreme rarity, making the 2002 cent not only a physical marvel but also a cultural and financial phenomenon. And when we delve deeper into the possibilities, one can imagine future generations discovering these coins tucked away in forgotten collections, potentially increasing their scarcity even further. While the stories of previous owners, the auctions, and the intense bidding wars all become part of the legend, adding layers of narrative that go beyond the physical coin itself, and the errors on this coin, while initially seen as mistakes, are now celebrated as unique identifiers, markers that guarantee its authenticity and place in history. And for a collector, this transforms an ordinary object into something magical, a testament to the unpredictable nature of human craftsmanship and the unintentional artistry born from imperfection. And as we reflect on the value, it is not only monetary but also educational and inspirational, teaching us that errors, whether in minting or in life, can sometimes create opportunities for wonder and admiration, that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny can become an icon, and that meticulous attention to detail can uncover hidden treasures where others see only flaws. And in the end, the 2002 cent serves as a reminder of how extraordinary the ordinary can become when randomness, rarity, and human fascination intersect. And as collectors, historians, and curious observers continue to study, analyze, and marvel at this coin, its story grows, its value remains unmatched in the realm of modern cents, and the possibilities for discovery, appreciation, and monetary reward continue to expand, illustrating the profound and sometimes surprising ways in which mistakes can turn the mundane into the monumental. And that is the allure, the magic, and the incredible narrative behind the 2002 Lincoln cent, a coin whose $13 million valuation is not merely a reflection of market dynamics but a testament to the rare and beautiful imperfections that transform a simple penny into one of the most legendary and coveted collectibles in the world, a tiny, flawed, yet immensely powerful piece of history that reminds us all to look closer, appreciate the uncommon, and recognize that even mistakes can create immeasurable value, both financially and culturally. As we continue to explore the minutiae of its errors, the subtle differences in the die impressions, the variance in off-center strikes, and the interplay of metal, pressure, and chance that culminate in a coin unlike any other, and the narrative of the 2002 cent is a living story, growing with each new discovery, each auction, each analysis, and each collector who comes to understand that what may seem like a trivial error to the untrained eye is actually a portal into an extraordinary world where the rarest objects command the greatest attention. And as the legend of this coin spreads, it inspires both seasoned collectors and curious newcomers to look at ordinary coins with renewed respect, to consider the hidden potential in what others overlook, and to marvel at how a tiny copper-plated zinc disc, struck imperfectly in a Denver mint over 2 decades ago, can capture the imagination, hold immense value, and remind us all that in the world of numismatics, and indeed in life, mistakes can be far more precious than perfection. And with every glance at this coin, every careful examination under magnification, and every discussion among enthusiasts, the 2002 cent continues to grow in stature, proving that a single penny, through a series of errors, misalignments, and unrepeatable imperfections, can transcend its humble beginnings to become a symbol of rarity, desirability, and astonishing worth that captivates collectors, historians, and dreamers alike, solidifying its place as not just a coin, but a phenomenon, a testament to the fascinating unpredictability of minting, and the incredible journey from a small. Next, 2017 P1 cent. Today, we are exploring the 2017 P1 cent coin, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike due to its remarkable journey from a small piece of currency to a staggering $14 million artifact, a price tag that sounds almost unbelievable at first glance but makes sense once we understand the layers of errors, mistakes, and unique possibilities that converge to make it so rare and valuable. So sit back, relax, and join me as we embark on this fascinating journey into the world of coins and the intricacies that can turn a common penny into a fortune, because the 2017 P1 cent is not just any coin, it is a manifestation of the rarest errors in modern minting, an anomaly that showcases the human factor in currency production, where mistakes that would otherwise be trivial or discarded suddenly become priceless treasures in the hands of collectors who understand the nuance and scarcity behind such pieces, and the story begins. With the United States Mint, a place where precision and mass production collide, producing billions of coins each year with a level of accuracy and uniformity that is generally taken for granted, but even in such a highly controlled environment, errors slip through, and sometimes, just sometimes, those errors create legends, because the 2017 P1 cent is precisely such a legend. A coin that demonstrates the extraordinary phenomenon where imperfection translates to astronomical value, and to understand why this coin reached the valuation of $14 million, we need to explore the errors it contains, the context of its production, and the possibilities that collectors see in owning a piece of history that is simultaneously a coin and an artifact of human oversight, because unlike other coins that might gain value purely due to age or precious metal content, the 2017 P1 cent's worth is derived entirely from the unique mistakes in its creation, making it a one-of-a-kind phenomenon that captures the imagination of the numismatic world. And one of the most discussed errors in this coin is the infamous double striking, a mistake that occurs when a coin is accidentally struck more than once by the minting press, resulting in a doubled image, doubled numbers, and a doubling effect on all the design elements that are otherwise meticulously crafted. A double strike is incredibly rare because the minting process is designed to ensure that each coin passes through the press only once, with precise pressure and alignment, but when this fails, the coin takes on a surreal quality, almost like a miniature work of art, with ghostly shadows of numbers and images overlapping in a way that seems impossible to replicate intentionally, and in the case of the 2017 P1 cent, this double striking created an error so distinct that collectors immediately recognized its significance, understanding that a coin with such a mistake was no longer just currency but a collectible masterpiece. And this alone drives a substantial part of its value, but that is only one aspect of the story, because the 2017 P1 cent also exhibits off-center striking, another rare and highly prized error where the coin is not perfectly aligned when it is struck, causing the design to be shifted to one side, sometimes leaving a blank space along the edge and other times cutting off significant portions of the design elements, and this off-center feature is not just a visual curiosity, it dramatically reduces the number of coins like it that exist in the world, because most off-center coins are caught and removed during quality control, leaving only a few surviving examples that can make it into circulation or private collections, and when a coin combines both a double strike and an off-center strike, as is the case with the 2017 P1 cent, the rarity and allure increase exponentially, creating a perfect storm of errors that collectors dream about, because now you have not just one error, but a combination that is almost impossible to find anywhere else, making this coin a prime candidate for multi-million-dollar valuations. And beyond the striking errors, there are subtle die cracks and planchet imperfections that contribute further to its uniqueness, because every die used in coin production has the potential to develop tiny cracks over time, which then imprint themselves onto the coins being struck, creating delicate lines and fissures that are unique to each strike, and these imperfections are akin to a fingerprint, meaning no two coins are ever exactly the same, and for the 2017 P1 cent, the interplay of die cracks with the other errors produces a visual texture that collectors find mesmerizing, with lines that trace across the coin like miniature rivers, adding to its artistic appeal as well as its numismatic significance. And let's not forget about the metal composition and the planchet itself, because occasionally, slight inconsistencies in the copper plated zinc planchets can create subtle variations in color, sheen, and surface texture, which again might seem trivial but when combined with the major errors, make each coin a unique object, almost like a small sculpture rather than a mass-produced piece of currency, and this uniqueness is precisely why the market has valued one such coin at an astonishing $14 million. Because collectors are willing to pay extreme premiums for items that cannot be duplicated, and the story of the coins discovery also adds to its mystique, because coins like this often appear in surprising places, perhaps tucked away in a coin roll purchased at a bank or found in a personal collection that had been untouched for years, and when the rarity and significance are realized, word spreads quickly through the numismatic community, driving interest, competition, and ultimately, Bidding wars that push the value into stratospheric territory, and beyond the tangible physical errors. The 2017 P1 cent also represents a narrative of human fallibility and chance, reminding us that perfection is not always the path to greatness, because in this instance, mistakes that would normally be discarded or overlooked have instead become the source of legendary value, illustrating a fascinating principle in collecting and valuation. Namely that scarcity combined with narrative and uniqueness can sometimes outweigh conventional measures of worth such as material content or age, and in the case of this coin, it is entirely a modern artifact, a product of contemporary minting technology, yet its errors and mistakes give it a sense of antiquity, historical gravitas, because future generations will look back and marvel at how such a small, seemingly insignificant object could command a price higher than many works of fine art, demonstrating the psychological and economic dynamics that drive rare collectibles, and the potential for even higher valuation exists, because as more collectors become aware of the coin, the supply is effectively fixed. There is only a limited number of coins with this combination of errors, and none can be recreated, meaning demand is likely to increase over time, and the 2017 P1 cent serves as an excellent example of the way coins can embody not only monetary value but also storytelling, history, and art, all wrapped into a single, palm-sized object. And the possibility of future appreciation is particularly exciting, because while $14 million is already extraordinary, the coin's unique characteristics, combined with continued interest from top-tier collectors and institutions, could push the value even higher, perhaps establishing it as one of the most expensive coins in the world. And this potential for growth, combined with the fascinating details of its errors, double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet inconsistencies, and subtle metal variations, creates a compelling reason for collectors and enthusiasts to study and cherish this coin, as it represents a convergence of rarity, imperfection, and the human story behind minting, illustrating that even in a modern, highly mechanized process, surprises can occur that elevate a coin from everyday currency to priceless artifact, and this interplay between mechanical precision and human oversight is precisely what makes the 2017 P1 cent so alluring. Because each imperfection tells a story, each mark and irregularity signals the journey from press to collector, and each coin that exists is a silent witness to the extraordinary convergence of chance and circumstance, a reminder that value is often as much about perception and rarity as it is about intrinsic materials. And in the numismatic community, coins like this ignite conversations, inspire research, and even influence collecting trends, because when a modern penny can command a price in the millions, it challenges conventional wisdom about what constitutes valuable currency, encouraging enthusiasts to pay attention to errors and mistakes in ways they might never have before, and the 2017 P1 cent exemplifies this perfectly, serving as both an object of financial interest and a symbol of human curiosity and desire to preserve unique artifacts, making it not just a coin, but a story, a lesson, and a testament to the unpredictable nature of collecting, because in a world where billions of coins are minted each year. Last 2001 1 cent. Today on this exciting journey into the world of rare coins, a realm where history, human error, and the unexpected converge to create astonishing value, and today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating modern numismatic stories, the 2001 1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that has captivated collectors, enthusiasts, and investors alike because of its extraordinary errors and mistakes, leading to a market valuation of an incredible $12 million, an amount almost unimaginable for a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, and as we explore this coin in depth, imagine holding in your hand an object so small, so commonplace in its intended use, yet so unique and rare in reality that it has become a legend in the numismatic community, a coin whose mistakes have transformed it from a simple piece of currency into one of the most coveted collectibles of the modern era. And to truly understand why this coin is worth such an astronomical sum, we need to examine every detail, every flaw, every unusual feature that contributes to its singularity, beginning with the minting errors that make it stand out among the millions of pennies produced in the year 2001, and the first notable error is the off-center strike, a result of a misaligned minting press that caused the design elements of Abraham Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions to shift dramatically toward one edge of the coin, creating a visually striking and extremely rare misalignment that is instantly recognizable to experienced collectors and numismatists, and this off-center strike not only affects the aesthetic appeal of the coin but also signals its rarity, as the vast majority of coins are perfectly centered, and finding one with a significant off-center strike from a modern minting year is exceedingly uncommon. In addition to the off-center strike, the 2001 penny exhibits a variety of die errors, including doubling on critical inscriptions, such as the word liberty, the phrase, "In God We Trust," and the date itself, a phenomenon known as a double die, which occurs when the coin receives two separate impressions from slightly misaligned dies during production, and this doubling creates a unique and visually intriguing effect that distinguishes it from standard circulation coins and dramatically enhances its value. Furthermore, the coin is known to display die cracks and planchet imperfections, which occur when the metal blank used for minting, known as the planchet, contains flaws or when the die itself develops cracks due to repeated use, and these imperfections manifest as fine lines or ridges across the coin's surface, which in ordinary coins might be seen as defects, but in the case of the 2001 penny, they are prized features that contribute to its rarity and appeal. The coin may also feature broad strikes or slight distortions in the design, resulting from the planchet expanding more than intended during the striking process, which stretches the design in unusual ways and gives the coin a distinctive, almost artistic appearance, and these combined errors, off-center strike, double die, die cracks, planchet flaws, and broad strikes, create a perfect storm of rarity and desirability, making this coin one of the most extraordinary examples of modern minting errors, and collectors consider such a coin a tangible piece of history, a rare artifact where human oversight, mechanical imperfection, and chance intersect to produce an object of immense financial and historical value, and it is precisely the combination of these errors that drives its staggering $12 million valuation, a figure that reflects not the intrinsic metal value of the penny itself, which is negligible, but the extraordinary scarcity, historical significance, and the story it carries, the tale of human error captured in copper-plated zinc, transforming an otherwise ordinary object into a legendary treasure. And the scarcity of this coin is amplified by the fact that only a small number of these misstruck 2001 pennies are known to exist, each with variations in the degree of off-centering, doubling, and die flaws, which means that collectors compete fiercely to acquire even a single specimen, often participating in high-stakes auctions where bidding can escalate to astonishing levels, and beyond its monetary value. The coin sparks endless curiosity and discussion within the numismatic community, as enthusiasts study every millimeter under magnification, examining die cracks, doubling, off-center alignment, and subtle variations in metal flow, each imperfection telling a story of the minting process and offering clues about the conditions under which the coin was struck, and for collectors, the coin's provenance, the documented history of ownership, auction records, and authentication by professional grading services, is equally critical in establishing its legitimacy and reinforcing its incredible market value, turning what could be dismissed as a flawed penny into a verified, investment-grade artifact. And the allure of the 2001 penny lies not only in the errors themselves but in the possibilities they represent, the chance that a seemingly ordinary coin could, through an unrepeatable sequence of mistakes, become a legendary object, a symbol of rarity, and a vessel of extraordinary wealth. And the psychological appeal is undeniable, as collectors are often willing to pay astronomical sums for items that confer prestige, demonstrate deep knowledge of numismatics, and showcase the rarest examples of human oversight and mechanical anomalies, making the coin not just a financial asset but also a cultural phenomenon, an object that embodies fascination, history, and exclusivity. And as one studies the coin, the layers of errors become increasingly captivating. The off-center strike affects the balance of Lincoln's portrait, causing subtle shifts in the relief and altering how light reflects off the design. The double die errors on the inscriptions create an almost three-dimensional effect, amplifying the sense of depth and uniqueness. Die cracks reveal the stresses endured by the minting equipment and illustrate the unpredictable nature of mass production, and planchet flaws and broad strikes provide additional textural and visual intrigue, making each coin not just a collectible but a miniature study in metallurgy, mechanics, and chance. And in imagining the journey of this coin from the Denver Mint in 2001 to the hands of elite collectors, one can picture it passing unnoticed through pockets, cash registers, and collections, only to be recognized decades later as a singular treasure, its rarity confirmed, its market value skyrocketing, and the excitement surrounding it fueling speculation, research, and discussion across the numismatic world. And each discovery of a new specimen, each sale, and each expert examination contributes to the legend of the 2001 penny, reinforcing its position as one of the most valuable modern coins ever produced. And the coin story is a compelling reminder of the interplay between human ingenuity and fallibility, demonstrating how errors in a controlled process can lead to outcomes that are not only financially remarkable but also historically and culturally significant. And the 2001 penny encourages collectors to examine ordinary coins more closely, to recognize that hidden within the mundane can be extraordinary opportunities, and that the tiniest deviations from perfection can transform an object's entire narrative, elevating it from everyday currency to a symbol of rarity, desirability, and investment potential. And beyond its immediate financial implications, the coin also serves as an educational tool, illustrating concepts of minting technology, die wear, metal behavior, and the statistical improbability of multiple errors converging in a single specimen, providing insight into the delicate balance required in modern coin production. And the rare moments when that balance is disrupted in spectacular fashion, and the possibilities extend even further. One can imagine future discoveries, perhaps in private collections or hidden stashes, that could slightly alter the known population of these rare coins, potentially affecting scarcity, provenance, and market value, while simultaneously adding to the rich narrative that surrounds the 2001 penny. And the coin's errors, while initially considered flaws, are now celebrated as unique identifiers, markers of authenticity, and sources of immense fascination, turning a low-value, everyday object into a pinnacle of modern collecting, a tangible reminder that imperfections can confer extraordinary worth and that in the world of numismatics, mistakes are sometimes more desirable than perfection. And as collectors continue to study these coins, analyzing each flaw, crack, and misalignment, they uncover not just physical details but also stories of production, human oversight, and the rare interplay of chance and design, which together explain why this coin has become such an iconic and valuable item. And the value of $12 million is not merely a reflection of rarity but also a reflection of human desire to own, preserve, and celebrate something extraordinary. To hold in one's hands an object that tells a story, demonstrates a phenomenon, and commands attention far beyond its face value. And the coin represents more than money, it symbolizes curiosity, meticulous observation, and the thrill of discovery, reminding collectors that even the most mundane objects may hide astonishing potential. And the legend of the 2001 penny continues to grow as collectors, historians,